So I decided to remake this video because there was a lot of, like, how do I say that, empty talk in the previous one. I was talking like in details about much of what's going on in the movies and stuff. This time I'll describe a little bit shorter, and yeah, right off the bat I want to say that what made me do this tier list, I usually don't make this kind of content, but yeah, I was absent for a couple of days, by the way, from streaming like games and stuff, like from because it was my birthday, so I couldn't just I couldn't at some point. Then at the next day I was just, again, I was just not in a condition, alcohol and stuff. But anyway, so why I made this ranking is because I was searching YouTube to find some decent horror movies to watch. I just typed in scariest movies ever and stuff like that, and in return I was getting just one or two movies, and like one of them is present here, and yeah, two of them actually are present here. One of them is really scary, the other one is not. But anyway, for some reason I couldn't find most of those movies that I'm gonna list here, so I'm gonna like put it like into the tier list, describe what I think about the movies and stuff, and I'll just put it out there. So hopefully people who will be searching just like I did today, this time they will find this video and like check out some of those movies, because there are really terrifying like movies among those that I'm gonna list. Anyway, so to begin with, it's Ari Aster's movie. Ari Aster, great director, great young director. I think he should be going more towards the direction that he took when he was making this Midsommar, rather than going the Beau is Afraid type of thing, because Beau is Afraid, although it's a great movie and I like diversity in movies, like it's not that he shouldn't do anything like that ever again, it's just I hope he's gonna return to what he did before, because although Beau is Afraid is a great movie, but I think he's doing much better in horror. So yeah, anyway, Midsommar in my opinion is easily a B tier. It's scary, kind of creepy, not like very graphic. It's not very terrifying. Yeah, not that it will scar you for life, unlike maybe his another film, but that I'm listing here. But anyway, it's worth checking out. It's a great one. I loved it. It's an occult type of stuff. Like it's young like group of people going to some, so they are going out of town to some village, which I mean, strange stuff's going on there, but they don't notice anything. They just, there to have fun. Then they understand that it's kind of a cult thing going on, and they are already involved. But yeah, it's pretty good. By the end, it gets a little bit more scary, but overall, in my opinion, B tier, pretty fair. So next one is When Evil Lurks. This one is a Spanish movie. So I checked it out in cinema. And it's probably the most scariest movie I've seen in the cinema, yeah, period, because it's not that easy to get scared in a cinema, because there are a lot of people around you, there are a lot of noises, people talking, you already, like, it's taking you out of the immersion of this horror movie. This time though, the things that were happening on the screen, some of them were that horrible that it was still pretty scary. So I'm gonna put this A tier, although again it may go to S tier also easily, to be honest, because of how graphic it is. The plot is not that deep, is not that interesting, like there are no plot twists and stuff like that. Maybe there is like kind of a mini plot twist, not that impressive in terms of that, but graphically it's amazing. Overall vibes and the atmosphere, they definitely nailed it. Whoever the creators are. I don't remember who are the, like, basically Spanish dudes, but they did a very good job. Anyway, the next one is the Borderlands. The Borderlands, it doesn't have anything to do with the video game adaptation that I think everyone knows, which is like shit garbage of 2024. This movie is from 2018. Just a second. 2013. Yep. It's a found footage movie, exactly. So it is not that graphic. There are things that going on, like some like creepy shit, but it's not that graphic. You don't see like decapitation and shit like that. Overall, it's a great movie, but again, I want to say that this tier list is not based on the quality of the movie. Rather, it's based on the scariness of the level, like factor, like horror factor of the movie. This one is B tier in terms of horror, but as a movie, I would rank it higher because it's a very great, like, considering no-name actors, which have done a very good job. I would probably put it like in A tier in regards to it being the quality factor. But in terms of the scariness, it's B. It's fair. I recommend everyone, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's not like another, B movie or stuff like that. Although it's a found footage, but it's great in my opinion. So B tier, and it's a British film. Anyway, next. So this is Atarados. I think it's Terrified. Yeah, it's translated as Terrified. I don't know. I haven't before today. I haven't heard any of those like names, titles, because I watched it in Russian. Unfortunately, Americans tend to not translate, like dub European movies to English, so I had to check it out in Russian. I usually prefer to watch movies in English for several years already, but yeah. Anyway, it is a good one. It is probably the most kind of popcorn movie out of all of those, but it's still pretty good. Like, there are things like body horror, jump scares, stuff like this. Pretty good. You can watch it. In terms of quality, it's probably for, especially not European. It's Argentinian movie. What I'm talking about. It's a South American movie. But I mean, the quality is up there. You can definitely check it out. I would put it higher if it was scarier. It's not that scary, to be honest, especially compared to like many of those. So Martyrs. Martyrs is probably the most horrible, terrible, scary movie that I've ever seen. And I'm talking exactly about this version. It's 2008 French movie. It's not the American remake. American remake, they say, I haven't seen it myself, but they say it's worse than this. It's not that scary. This one, Martyrs, French movie, 2008. It's pretty scary. Body horror. Also some like secret society stuff going on. It is there are a lot of things, mutilation and decapitation and stuff like that. And it is probably the most scary movie that I've ever seen, because yes, it definitely level up from When Evil Lurks, although When Evil Lurks is pretty difficult to watch at points. But anyway, it's the great one, probably, yes, the most scary movie that I've ever watched. Anyway, let's continue with those. Those two come in a package, and the reason for that is that I heard about Threads. I think I've seen it sometimes once on TV when I was a kid, but not the complete, like not whole movie, and thanks God I haven't watched it, because I've seen this, and I'll explain in a second. So this movie, Threads, is about a nuclear war breaking out, its effects on society, people dying, basically people suffering. What would it be like if nuclear war broke out, and how would society look like what would happen to people. And it includes a lot of, I've seen the reviews again, and from what I remember, it includes a lot of graphic stuff. So it is probably one of the most heavier themes that you can see in a movie, and it's pretty realistic. And this one is an anime, Japanese anime. It's called Barefoot Gen, and I had a misfortune, I would say, to see this when I was a kid, when I was 7 or 8 years old, and it scarred me for life. It definitely, if I have some psychological, psychiatric deviances, it's probably because of this movie. It kind of break me back then. So I realized that I will not probably be that traumatized, hurt by watching it now, and whoever's gonna watch it now. But back then, I don't remember the details. I just remember a couple of scenes that I saw from this movie. It was just horrible. And this is basically, Barefoot Gen is the same theme, same story as the Threads. So I'm gonna put both of them in S tier because, again, people who saw Threads recently, they say it's still horrible. And Barefoot Gen, I can not again remember everything, but I know that it's scary. It's scary as fuck. Anyway, so this one is this Lake Mango is the reason that why I'm making this tier list, actually, because so when I was searching for a scary movie, I just typed in on YouTube the scariest movies ever or something like that, and the first one I got was this. Some random dude was talking about this movie and how it is one of the scariest movies he's ever seen, and his brother also seen that movie, and they were both agreeing that this is probably very scary movie, one of the most scariest and whatever. I think he said that ever, the scariest movie ever. I strongly disagree. I just checked it out, and again, that's probably the reason I'm making this tier list, is that this movie, in terms of horror, it was so bad that I don't want anyone else to be mistaken like that, to waste 2 hours. In my opinion, this is a joke. Lake Mango is not scary. Not at all. It's a found footage movie about a girl who died, but she saw her own ghost before she died, and I don't care one bit about that. It's not scary. You may say that it's more realistic, there are no monsters and shit like that. Yeah, Martyrs is also realistic, but it's scary as fuck. You will just shit your pants, So yeah, whatever. Lake Mango, I dislike it, and I wish they didn't recommend it. I didn't get this as the first recommendation to watch a scary movie, to see a scary movie. So next one in our tier list is gonna be Serbian film, Srpski film, literally a Serbian film, like a film from Serbia, and the director of this movie described this as struggles of Serbian people or some shit like that. I think he's a fucking psychopath, because this movie is although it's more sexually explicit movie, it's more about nudity, sex and stuff like that, porn, but it involves also violence, a lot of it, and it ends just with horrible things. It ends with horrible things, and it ends very so these two movies, I'll get to that soon. Anyway, I'll finish with that first. Yeah, so Serbian movie, if you're a fan of horror movies, you can check this out. This is moderately scary, but the thing it is not about it being the problem, not problem, but the impression of this movie comes not from it being graphic or some shit like that. It probably comes more from the ending, because the ending is just horrible. It's definitely a psychopath made this movie, so whatever. I'm gonna put this in B tier, and remember, again, I'm not talking about the quality of the movies or the plot, or I like the plot, how much I like it or whatever. I'm just basing it on these movies being scary or not. And this ending in the Srpski film, although it's not graphically scary like those are, and psychologically scary, but it is sick. It's just fucking sick. It's not, yeah, it's not healthy, I would say. And this is where the Kill List comes in. So the Kill List is also another British film. I'm not sure about it. So the Borderlands being like English or Scottish movie. Anyway, so this one is, I think it's from England. So the Kill List, it's a story about like so a dude who used to be so a killer for hire. So he quit his job. He has a family now, and etc. But at some point he needs money, and his friend appears from out of nowhere and like suggests him to get, like, there's one more job and etc. And he accepts it because he needs money and stuff. And he will definitely not like what will happen. Wait, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but this one is definitely worth checking. It is similar. Its ending is similar to the Serbian film, but it's for different reasons. It involves a cult and shit like that, and it's pretty scary. The next one and the last one in our list is this. It's Hereditary, another movie by Ari Aster. It's pretty impressive because it's also involves like occult stuff, shit. Graphically, it's I would say it's somewhere in the middle. It's not that scary. It's not that graphic. There are a couple of graphic things going on. It's mostly the atmosphere that is getting to you. But anyway, highly recommended. It's A tier, not S, definitely, because in S I would not put anything besides these kind of movies. Anyway, I probably should put Serbian film into C category. But anyway, so those are the movies: Martyrs, Threads, Barefoot Gen, When Evil Lurks, Kill List, Hereditary, Midsommar, The Borderlands, Aterados, meaning the terrified, so Serbian film, and Lake Mongo, which I don't recommend because it's not scary at all, in my opinion. Anyway, that's my tier list. I will do something similar probably, like soon. I don't know. I'm just making this video because, again, as I said, I just wasted 2 hours of my life to watch this movie, which is not scary at all. I'm not the biggest fan of horror movies, honestly. I check them out, but I'm a fan of every kind of like genre. It's just that this time I was in the mood to check out a horror movie, and I got recommended this Lake Mango, which, again, I repeat, not at all scary, not at all terrifying, nothing like that. All of those movies are more scary than it. Definitely, if you want the scariest movie, check out Martyrs. I also didn't include movies like Faces of Death and stuff like that, because Faces of Death, I think it kind of, there is some, I think, line that you shouldn't pass. You shouldn't you shouldn't go there. You shouldn't watch movies like that. It's not movie. I think it's documentaries, partially documentaries. Basically about people unaliving themselves, also like included. So I didn't include them. Obviously, those things are more horrifying than all this, but those are all like art. This is art. The Faces of Death are not. So anyway, and even though this is art, the probably the closest thing that you will see to a real, horror that you can imagine. Anyway, to anyone who saw this, thanks for checking this out. I'm gonna put this on YouTube because I want people to not be confused by information like what I just got in, the Lake Mango situation. I don't want people to watch some, if they want to watch horror movies, just go watch those. Don't watch this. Thanks, bye.